Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very exciting episode. This is episode number 30. I realized that
Oh
today when I
shit!
was adjusting the
Oh
title.
Yep.
shit!
Episode number 30 of Roll20 Presents The Burning Wheel, Big 3-0.
Damn.
That's exciting.
Dirty
Damn.
30.
That's right. 30 is like, this is a good amount of Burning Wheel to be playing, right?
This
Like,
is a substantial
When-
amount.
I feel like
people-
we're finally getting somewhere.
right? Well, and this is the thing. People always ask, like, can you do like a Burning Wheel like as a short? And I'm like, you can, but like, look
But
at all
why
the,
would you want
But
to?
why?
Yeah, look at all the
Yeah.
amazing shit that's happened in these last 30 episodes. We're really getting into it now. We've hit our stride. So welcome everybody. Our last episode, it was a hell of an episode. There was a lot of shit going on in that last episode, if you'll pardon my Carpathian. And I'm super excited to see what other things we can light on fire. But I was thinking, and we were talking about this like a tiny bit before the session, I think this is going to be one of those, like, we take a slight step back from actor stance and we like talk about the current situation, maybe do some downtime. We can make some rolls. We'll kind of be doing the zoomed out version, I think, today. Does that sound good for people? Because everybody kind of has like little projects that need to be set into motion that might take some time. They have some things that are going to take up.
I'm cool with it.
They're going to take up their time. Yeah. Dave, you are the only person, and there's only one thing that is like needs to be resolved, and I wanna check in with you about this. So the fate, and you said something that made me think that we're on the same page already, but the actual fate of your character's sister. So whether or not she is saved, however that turns out, isn't really that important to you as a player. Am I reading you correctly?
No, I think it's interesting in terms of when we zoom back in, how it's changed him.
Yes.
But he's done all the groundwork. We've made all the rolls. It's out of his hands now.
Right. And the reason, it wasn't that it wasn't interesting to you. Like, what I guess I should have said was that any outcome is equally interesting because you're operating on a different level that isn't really about that as a player.
Sure. Yeah, and I tend to try in Burning Wheel at least to be in situations where success or failure are both fine.
Yeah.
And interesting.
Well, and what I think was interesting about the situation with your sister is that there are all these rolls made around it, but we never, I was never like, hey, make a roll to save her. Right, you were like, I'm gonna let you make that decision.
It prompted him to do all these other things, but none of them were necessarily. He didn't have a belief that was like, I have to save my sister's life.
Right. What I'm asking permission for is to make that decision as the GM, to be like, this is what happens.
Please.
Okay, good. I didn't want to, like, because it's a character relationship, and we talked about that. We talked about that before. But like, the situation with your character's sister is more interesting to you, if I'm reading it right, more interesting to you in that how it changes Lodowick, and not so much like a quest to save her.
Yeah, that's why I spent on like a bunch of low impact relationships. They're I almost want to say like equipment kind of. It's that same level of it can alter the way that the character goes and what their capabilities are and what they're interested in, but the character is the main thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
That's why the business is 70 RP and she was 3.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Is this where we have the like No Country for Old Men moment for the audience, where it's just like, oh yeah, this person just dies off camera?
So that's
that you
pretty
thought
much
was important.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much what I was gonna go for. That like she's been dead a while, and it's not really about that anymore. And I do like that kind of auteur take on it, of being like, we have to save her, she's so important, and then we just come back in for the next like season, and she's just, it's like, well, that's a shame, she died off screen, and we have more important shit to worry about now. But it can come back as a reminder. It's something in the background. But yeah, it wasn't about that. It was about arming these dangerous people with deadly weapons. Cool. I like that. Okay. Cause that frees us up for like what's to come next, and to like set the stage. So what I was thinking we do is we just talk about like what kind of y'all want from the next bit for your characters. And then we can maybe make some rolls. We can do that stuff. And then we can take some time to do a trait vote. Who wants new traits? Everybody loves new traits.
I do love traits.
I would like my trait to just be the motherfucking queen.
Well, we can talk about
I
that.
think you only fulfilled.
I think
like,
you mean the
half of the
royalty
requirement of
annihilator.
Yeah. So we gotta so we gotta talk about the limitations of magic, right? Because for Agatha, your spell was to last for the rest of what? How is it described? It's like adventure.
I think it's adventure, which is the longest one that I
Yeah,
could
it's the
do.
longest one. Yeah.
Okay, so it's still going. I don't think that this isn't the end of the adventure. I think the king is still kaput.
Yeah, there's one before
king
that.
is
Isn't there,
kaput.
like arc or something like that.
Oh, sorry. There's session, adventure, and then campaign. I chose adventure.
Adventure, yeah. So he will wake up. I think this is the like maybe that's something that Agatha can deal with as time goes on, right? In that like he starts to wake up, because I want the tension to be at what point does Alessandra put the pillow over his face?
Yeah, and to my mind, we can have adventure, like it kind of started this arc.
Yes.
Like that was the big pivot, so it doesn't count as part of the last adventure, it counts as part of this one.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. And I think it's fair to say that there are degrees of like some days he might remember more than others, but he's
or
never
like wake up for a little bit, but he's all fucked up.
He's never in king position for this adventure. He could recover if he survives. If somehow he manages to survive the
Why
tender
are you looking at me?
the tender ministrations of Lady
It's not
Alessandra.
necessarily even that Alessandra will kill him. Like he's just really vulnerable right
Yeah,
now.
he's very vulnerable. I mean, you may develop like people who want him to stay gone, and we'll do this for you, right? Like depending on how you spin this, Alessandra.
You know, Alessandra doesn't actually want the king to die.
No, sure, but you can't be queen while he's alive.
I mean, that's not true.
I mean, unless you marry him, but he's already
Well,
married
we've
and
been
it's a whole
working
thing.
on
so
that.
yeah, so we can talk.
I changed a belief, all right?
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's the mixed game. So I figure as the time passes, we're getting the kind of montagey shit that's going on. Is obviously, Elf. We got to talk about what happened to Joy, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Agatha, based on my understanding of your situation, Agatha, is you're building and reinforcing your coven. So when we come back, this could be you and your apprentices, and they're beginning to have their own magical skill, and like
like we've continued teaching. I think if
We're talking about like a fairly large skip, right?
yes, yeah.
we
So
do a time
shifting character like place in the setting, right? Lodovic goes from slightly bumbling, kind-hearted merchant to like, is he going to become like
he's fucking Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, right, exactly. So how far into that are we going to go? That's the tension there, right? Agatha rising in corporeal and magical power, right? Like taking her place at the church, basically because we talked about Robillard leaving the church, and you're the PC
kind of
there,
leaves it.
right? So it'll become your new place, even if you're operating out of the basement. This is the rise of the Queen Regent. Like the space we're going to take in the next bit is going to be the characters are all moved. Their pieces have shifted.
Basically, I'm going to be practicing instructor a lot.
Yeah.
Buffing up my two
Right, exactly.
apprentices and trying to get them so that they can do stuff.
Yeah, and there's lots of little things that I think will become the things that I look at that'll become tensions in the next bit is obviously the butting heads between Alessandra and Lodovic by way of your territory, right? Because what Lodovic wants and what Alessandra is responsible for might butt heads, and then I think as we come into the next arc, Agatha will probably learn what's happening in the forest territories, right? That'll become a thing that you can either solve or not solve because the minister is like, we're going to go and like burn villages and pillage shit and like raid farms. Bad things are happening in the forest. So I want Agatha to be on a position to directly affect that. Because if we just ran from where we were, it would be like, cool, well, you still don't really have any resources and you're a fugitive and you're hiding and all these bad things are happening. I think the bad things have started to happen. And then now I want to put you in a position to do something about it.
Well,
Yeah.
the other big ambition I have, Adam, is to murder the Angel of Winter and eat its heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which might give you
as
which might
you
give
have
you the power
prophesied.
to fight the minister. Yeah,
So and also just to like, I still want to end this cursed winter.
totally.
That's
Yeah, and
still
that can very
important.
much be a focus. Like I could see the end of the next arc being closing the door on like the eternal winter, if you're successful, or it might mean that you get frozen
Or
and
it could get
broken into
worse
1,000
or whatever.
pieces. Yeah,
Yeah.
the beginning of the serious end. Cool. Yeah, lots of stuff to be done, and some like shifting to be done too around the characters and their desires. So I just wanted to make sure we were all on board with kind of treating the last episode as our sort of arc finale, this being that like episode 10 of Game of Thrones where they don't really do anything new, but we kind of talk about setting up for the next thing, and then the next episode is sort of the beginning. 31 is the beginning of the next thing.
Yeah.
So the clear and most obvious question mark for me is Joy.
Uh-huh.
So let's
Well,
let's
I want
talk
to.
about
I just
this.
want to like. I was at a loss really
Yeah.
in terms of what I wanted to do after all this happened.
Uh-huh.
So of course, the person I went to was Ink Corbin, and I said, "Ink Corbin, what do you think I should do with Joy?" Right? And I said, like, you care a lot about this stuff, and they sent me back like so much stuff.
Yeah,
It's like a big section of text. I love
Lee
it.
Corvid wrote a choose your own adventure novel for
Yeah, I mean, basically.
It's really good.
But what I know I would like to happen to her is I don't want her to just be like injured and thrown in the river and then like nursed back to health sort of thing. Like I want her to die, like,
Mhm.
and then for something to happen that makes her not dead.
I feel that.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um,
That's reasonable.
So I'm trying to decide between what those things could be, and the people I know with power that can do those things are like the angels,
Mm-hmm.
the Magus probably,
Yep.
Saltpeter because he just
Saltpeter.
does everything.
Yes.
Maybe people in the dark woods somewhere. There's witches out there.
Mhm.
I have two contributions to make to this. One
Yeah.
is myself.
Yeah,
But the other,
I was getting to that.
because I don't know if Agatha really necessarily can fuck with this stuff, but Adam,
Yes.
I know that Black Phillip is out there.
Yes. The adversary.
The
The adversary
weird-
is always looking for friends.
The
Like
demon.
that smooth talking guy who returned the baby and
Yeah.
who helped me burn down a village.
Well, so I was kind of like leaving this, but something that the Church of the Choir of Angels maybe we haven't talked about and might come up, but the adversary was an angel, right? Like just because he got his
Well, yeah,
wings
yeah,
ripped off
exactly.
doesn't mean he's not still part of he's the dissonant note in the choir, right? So of course, when Robillard builds this choir to the angels, it attracts the adversary's attention, and he's like, yeah, I could get in on this.
I'm an angel.
Yeah, I
could
too
use
am
some
an angel.
Followers, cults are good for me too. Yeah, I would like a cult.
And you know, Agatha doesn't necessarily.
Yeah,
to
I mean
stay
the adversary
others.
the adversary is opposed to God. He won. He won the fight because God died. We don't know why that happened, but the adversary won.
The other stuff, just throwing it
Yeah,
out
there's
there.
some.
There's like a couple of other options, and I want to like farm this out to you guys and see what you think and like what would be good and stuff. But like, what about the Stygian gods? Like the psychopomp was mentioned, and that's a meeting you have when you die. That could be something.
Mhm.
And the other thing is maybe she's just a fucking ghost, and then there's possession shit that we can do.
Yeah, and then we can put you in a hull, or if we prepare a body, you can become a vampire.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like the major ones that I thought were like really, really awesome kind of choices. That stuff.
Well, so let me make
And the
a
adversary
list.
is definitely.
Let me make a list, and we can all as a group discuss. I mean, ultimately, it's your decision, but this is like a fun thing. This is what we did with Miro, right? Where we were like, let's talk as a group about what seems like a good way to characterize this change. Okay, so let me construct my list of potential futures here. So
This is just because like I can't decide. It's
Totally.
like it's like so much.
yeah.
Good stuff.
So okay, so Saltpeter, which this is the technically you remain dead, but you're like the
This is the alchemical zombie.
It's like
Yeah.
a Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like corpse beast.
that one is very Game of Thrones because that's what
Yeah.
happens to what's his
The
nuts?
mountain.
Yeah,
Right?
mountain, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Saltpeter brings you back as like a corpse monster.
But I also feel like he's the one with the least agenda.
Yes,
You
totally.
know?
That would be the one that would give you essentially freedom because he would do it just to see if he could.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite kind of scientist.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Like,
if,
hey, a corpse. I wonder if I could
Oh.
uncorpse this corpse.
and if I found out about that, you would technically work for me, which might be interesting to you.
Yeah, there
because
could be
he
a
technically
connection there.
works for me.
Mhm.
But I don't know whether that's something you're interested in.
I
I'm becoming
mean,
a bit more evil now, so I could use it.
My
That would. Sorry, go ahead, Luigi.
No, I think that my personal interests go towards things that bring in loose threads in the story that have been like
Let's-
hanging around for a while.
Yeah, let's not assess them yet. I'm gonna make the list,
Yeah.
and then we'll go
yeah,
through.
we'll
it.
make the
We'll
list
talk
and
about
then
each
we'll,
one.
we'll look at.
Okay, so Saltpeter, Joy as corpse monster. Okay, so what else we got? The angels.
Like the angels or the adversary,
So the angels as one thing, right? So miraculous.
or like specifically the angel of winter, or
So
any specific.
yeah, with the angels, I got to know why.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Would
Why
they-
exactly? Yeah.
To what purpose?
because with
Well, they would have
me,
some
Robillard was like pushing them with magic or faith to be engaged with the healing, but it would have to be like through someone else probably that the angels help.
Okay, so
with.
a miraculous return to life from the angels, the adversary. I mean, the justification there is that Joy has been talking shit about the angels and God since episode 1.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like every time you laugh at God, the adversary's like, "Yep, I feel you. Me
He's
too.
on something.
Same."
And the Joy has been such a destabilizing
Oh yeah.
character in these really fun and subtle ways.
Yeah, and anti-authority and yeah. This is very much like my idea of the adversary is like a slightly more pagan influenced, but still like very much like Miltonian, like kicked out of heaven for saying no to God.
Yeah.
Sent like a noble figure to some people, kicked out of heaven, sent to hell, meant to reign there, but also like really bitter, like the abandoned son, and like now that God is dead, like he's the guy that shows up. He's the character that you played in Inheritance, the Viking that comes home after Grandpa dies. Is like, where's my shit?
Yeah. Also, like more of an anarchic bent,
Mhm.
like is like anti-authoritarian,
Yes.
like just
So
wants
there's a fit there too,
people
for
to
sure.
be individuals and stuff.
So, as a more, I know it's going to sound very self-centric in terms of the things that I'm offering, but as a more kind of tangible thing, there is an agent of the adversary who's within the setting at the moment who has expressed.
I
fact
don't
that he
really
wants
want to.
help her.
I don't really want to. If you're talking about Miro, I don't want to really bring Miro into it.
Well, no,
personally.
Miro. So remember though, Miro is not an agent of the adversary.
Is he not?
No. So this
No.
this is the tricky thing about the cosmology we're developing, right? There's so many different spiritual entities at play. So like there's ghosts, which are the souls of dead people that didn't get to go to heaven or hell or get whatever left the earth, right? So there's ghosts. There's spirits, which are the things that Agatha talks to that were never human, are not human. They're alien forces of nature and the universe. There's angels, of which the adversary is a former member. They are servants of God who is dead. And then there are the forces of corruption. And the forces of corruption are kind of like,
Oh, I forgot.
they're
Yeah,
kind of
that's
like spirits, but they're more like human in the sense that they're closer to us. They're like Azathoth. They're the crawling chaos, the elder darkness. They're the squiggling things that writhe around in the shadows of the universe.
Yeah, they're
Fair.
by their natures they must be outside of human understanding and scope.
Yeah, the adversary is actually very human in the sense that he is like he's even more human than the angels because he's like, no, God, you suck. I'm out.
Well,
And
also
then
something
there's
you said
the
about being thrust from the angels. There's something that had to differentiate him, or
Yeah.
else like
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The angels are quite alien in the sense that they're not like golden-haired white dudes with trumpets, but
No, they're like avatars of like they're essentially like manifestations of rules and orderings
Yes.
and like
exactly.
law. Like we want to frame them in the sense of like a scripture or a religion. They're a living embodiment of a codification of beliefs.
That's right. Yeah. They represent aspects of God's creation. And then there's also like foreign pantheons, which are like the Stygian gods, which you would access through faith, the same way the angels or regular God were, right? So the Stygian pantheon, the psychopomp, and the other sort of Egyptian-esque, like Middle Eastern, sort of Sumerian, like that pantheon that we're sort of shadowily building in the background. So that's the next option, right? Is like Stygian powers as an option. So that would be like connect joy to. We'd see more of Stygia in the game just as a result, not the place, but the culture.
Yeah.
Connect joy to culture, etc. So you go and you have your talk with the jackal-headed man who weighs your heart and is like, you know what? Never mind. I'm done with you. Go back. You got shit to do. So this is joy. Joy is like sort of pseudo mummy. Okay.
Yeah.
What else we got? There's ghost joy.
Yep, like joy possessing someone else.
Mechanically, ghost joy would be, you would make a new character, elf, and then that character would get the possessed trait, and they would have their own beliefs.
Have joy in them.
They'd have their own beliefs and instincts, and they would also have joy's beliefs and instincts.
I'm gonna scratch that because that sounds way more complicated than I want to make the thing.
Oh, this sounds really cool.
It's a lot. It's a lot of speaking
It's
as like
work.
speaking as Gavril Reza. It's a lot of work because you have 6 beliefs and instincts to manage, and then you're playing a character who's struggling with themselves.
Yeah, this would be if Elf wanted to play not Joy, but this other person.
Yeah, this is the closest to Miro's retire. This is sort of like retiring Joy as a character, and it does solve that it's not a problem, but that revelation you had where you're like, oh, I actually know how to make an effective Burning Wheel character now.
I mean, yeah, but Joy's too good. I don't want to.
Okay, all right. I mean, yeah, exactly. So it would be a way to play a new character, but still stick with Joy. But it's the most complicated option. But okay, we'll scratch that one. Am I missing anything? Saltpeter, Miraculous, Angelic Return, The Adversary, Stygian Powers.
Witches in the Woods.
Witches in the Woods. Agatha.
Well, it would be Agatha doing it, and I'm not sure what that might look like.
I mean, I don't think Agatha has the power to bring the dead back to life.
She doesn't really fuck with bringing the dead back to life.
No,
like, I don't
that's
have
not
any.
like mechanically to raise the dead, you need to summon their ghost back and then have them possess somebody. Or you need to like use blood. Like,
is it either blood magic
not
or
blood magic? The other
death
one,
arts?
Death
Death
arts.
arts.
Yeah, you have to use death arts.
Which I don't have.
In the setting.
Did we mention the Magus?
Yes, right, the Magus. Yeah, or you have to have a sorceress paradigm that allows you to say no, which is the thing.
Presumably some part of our magic.
I think that the Magus. Yeah, the Magus is certainly an option, and it would be a way for you if you're curious about what happened with that guy and you want to bring him back more aggressively into the game.
But he's also like not really related to the current story.
Correct.
Which makes it more of a like branch.
My
off.
understanding of the Magus is that he's sort of caught between. He did that thing where he was the hubris sorcerer guy, right? And he like trucked with powers that were beyond him, but because he used sorcery and enchantment stuff, he could bind them to his purpose, and then that got stripped away.
Got
from
unraveled.
Him. Yeah, his and then he's paying the price for it.
So probably not the Magus.
Yeah, probably not him. I think we could get similar stuff from
other
Saltpeter
people.
or so the witches thing would be interesting, but I also think that it would put you in the position that Dave has been in for the last several episodes, where it would be like, meanwhile, out in the woods where no one else is.
I also agree with that. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it's a good plan, but it's even more separating.
Why would they do that?
One of the reasons I was interested in that particular avenue was because of the circumstances of Joy's death and how that allies her with the people that the Minister of the Forest Territories is maligning. I like that then Joy would have a power backing to come back at the person who literally killed her and be like, you know what? Get fucked. I have magical people now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was why that was interesting to me. Yeah. I understand that it would also take you farther from the other PCs.
Yeah.
The kind of the drawback, I feel like being surrounded by that magical backing but not having access to it might be that you feel in the same position you were before of everybody being more effective than you are and having
I mean,
to
that's just a fact with Joy. That's something I have made my peace
Mhm.
with. She is a great persuader, but she sucks at everything else. So
Yeah, it's just a consideration for if you felt like you could have an opportunity to be more like kind of central to your own destiny, and that might be putting you on the back foot again in terms of resetting. But if that's if that's like inevitable in your head, then
I mean, Joy has always been the weakest character in terms of just having things because I started as a slave. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happens.
So it's not really too much of a problem for me. But yeah, so I think those are our options, Adam.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have any particular bent or direction that you're like, ooh, that thing. But I'm interested to hear it if you do. Because like I said, it's just like there's so much and so many.
So my top three are Saltpeter, the adversary, or the Stygian powers.
Yeah, those are probably my top three as well.
Saltpeter would be like he finds your corpse, brings you back to life as like a weird zombo, and then is like, okay, cool, bye, or whatever. Like, have fun.
Oh, good.
And then he just lets you kind of do your own thing. And this could go a bunch of different ways, right? This could be like the Jack the Ripper Joy, right? Because you feast on human flesh and like
that was definitely a thought I had where it was like, and I turned her into a character that kills people.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, exactly. And you're forever like feasting off of flesh for your attempt to kill a person. Like this is it's like a cursed version of Joy, but you're also empowered by your outsiderness, right? So instead of being like, I just want everyone to treat me as human, be like, I'm not human. I'm different
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting in concept. I definitely like it. Yep. It's definitely the most free, I think, of the choices, because the adversary is going to bring me back and be like, yo, so here's the deal. You know, and there's going to be
the adversary, I think,
sign here.
The adversary is about making bad deals. Like no deal with the adversary will ever ultimately go in your favor, but he also likes that you are a force of chaos and would encourage you to continue that, right? He would
continue to be a force
the adversary would be like, cool, I brought you back because you're a destabilizer, so go do more of that.
Keep doing that.
Keep doing that
on a grander scale until it really blows up in your face.
Dost thou wish to live deliciously?
Exactly.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The adversary, hit me up. I want to live deliciously.
Yeah, I would like to live deliciously.
I want a pretty dress. I want the taste of butter. And I want to be able to fly.
I would, for one, really love to have a taste of butter again.
I think we're all pro the adversary here.
If the adversary showed up and was like, sign this and you get all that stuff.
If the adversary was like, you can now choose from all of the flavors at the ice cream place, I would be like,
oh shit.
Wouldst thou like to be able to ingest the lactose? Okay, so that's the adversary.
And then the Stygian powers.
And then the Stygian powers is like the outlier, but this would be the like. It would set an interesting cosmological precedent, because it would say like the gods that are responsible for you are the gods of the place of your birth, not the gods you worship.
But I think it also sets this weird like thought that Joy is somehow important to those powers. You know what I mean?
You have
like,
Dreamer, right?
Yeah.
I think also with inviting the Stygian powers, there's an interesting reflection of the current conflict on a cosmological scale. Because we've had this overriding war with Stygia as like a background thing the whole time, but it's never really like become invested in the setting in a big way. Yeah. And it would be interesting, like during a time where the characters are now like butting heads in terms of like the nobles versus Lodovic and his crew, to also invite a similar like head butting. Of the theological aspect.
Yeah, the risk here is that we like the witches thing, because the way I envision this would be that like you go before the psychopomp and he's like, no, get back out there, you still have shit to do. And then Joy would have to connect with the community of Stygians living in Carpathia and then we would have to find a way to connect them to what's going on.
I think the best option is the saltpeter option.
I think it is too.
It leaves Joy with the freedom to do Joy stuff. Whatever that ends up being.
Let me challenge that just a little.
Yeah, of course.
Because with any of these choices, I think it's really important that they change your course a little bit and that they provide you with a vector for play. So I'm interested in knowing what you think will come out of you being revived by saltpeter.
What I would say the vector is here is because Joy doesn't live again, like this way that we're gonna make this happen, right? It becomes like a revenge thing. You know what I mean? Like you killed me and I'll never be alive again, and I'm going to kill you and you're gonna stay dead. You know what I mean? Like
okay, cool. Yeah.
And playing it up, I don't know, playing it up that way could be good. And I have a couple of ideas about how that would play out. So
yeah,
well,
and
there's
it would
also.
Sorry, go ahead, Blue Jay.
I mean, in terms of like that directionally, that also takes you away from like PC stuff.
My counterpoint to that is that if Joy needs to get close to the nobility to murder somebody, the best way to do that would be through Lodovic, right? Because that's where this conflict is going to end up, right?
But also, like I still have all the connections that Joy has with Alessandra and Agatha, and I know where they are, and like in the city. Like the thing about saltpeter is he's going to be like, cool, later.
Yeah,
but you will also be like, there's the trait you'll get, like you're going to be dead. You can't just like walk up to the.
Well, no. So
I have the disguise skill.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The tension will be, and you'll have to make an instinct about it or whatever if you want to, where it would be like, yeah, you are like on close examination, you are not alive. You are an undead creature.
Yeah, like your flesh is cold.
You can currently you can disguise it, but that could be a thing that will slowly over time you'll
get
decompose.
Worse.
You'll get worse.
Like the guy in Shape of Water with his fingers that are rotting, and people start smelling it.
The thing is, you're already pretty corpse looking because you're a Stygian, right? Yeah. So you have the advantage of Stygians all look a little corpsey. You're already ashen, right?
We're all eldritch and smell weird.
Yeah, right.
So have dye all over our hands.
Mm-hmm.
When you say there will be some instinct around it or something, are we thinking of adding
there's a trait
characters and other stuff have an extra thing? Are we?
Well, so in this case, the trait you would get for now is just hungry dead.
Yeah.
So as a side effect of their reanimation, the dead become insatiably hungry. They may consume normal foodstuffs, but the only dish that truly curbs their desire is living human flesh. So
there it is.
you'd become a member.
Let's do that. I'm all about that.
You'd become a member of the Hungry Dead. And then later, as the result of failing failing rolls and of the situation, it's you're on a timer that eventually saltpeter's magic. You might have to go back to him and be like, fix me,
pull it apart,
fix me, you fuck, because he basically makes you, and then like a child who's given a puppy for Christmas, he loses interest and is like, get out, you smell weird. I have shit to do. He's lost interest in his experiment.
All right.
And then you could go back to him, or you could go elsewhere, right? Because who else is good at preserving corpses? Stygians. So there's room to explore there.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
as an added bonus. Even though it was never intended to be this way, the name being a little ironic, the fact that there would be a serial killer called Joy is fucking fantastic. It's horrific.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. You're going for
and also I see, and I just want to address this thing that I saw in chat where it's but the goal stays small. And I'm like, Joy has always been good at small goals. The small goals have always been Joy's avenue. Everybody else is I want to be queen. Yeah. I want to be this. I want to be the supreme witch of the universe or whatever. I just want food and to survive.
Now your hunger is desperate and
which is it plays directly into the way I like to play. So we're good. We're good.
And do we want to add a problematic instinct or something around being the Hungry Dead, or are we going to let the trait?
I think the trait, because the trait is the same as anything else, where I will I'll tempt and remind you, and you can enjoy. You can use that against yourself, right? To be I can't help myself. I just started shoveling food in my mouth, or your character is possessed by a great and terrible hunger, like any other negative trait.
Sounds good.
It's just there to earn. It's there to earn Artha. But the thing about the instinct that I was thinking would be that Joy like if you wanted to write an instinct about like whenever I go out in public, disguise myself first, right?
Yeah, I think that's
the
what I'm
insurance
gonna do.
thing, so that we
Stuff like
test.
that.
Yeah, so we test like, does this person know that you're actually a corpse?
Yeah.
I'm very happy for you. You've become the undead character that I always wished to be.
So I guess this means that Saltpeter, in addition to all of his other skills, is our sole practitioner of death art. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, or like some kind of alchemy.
I mean, there's rules in the codex for like bringing people back from the dead.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Like that's the thing. Like this was the thing that Miro was eventually going to research.
Okay.
Yeah, death art, ritual magic for creating a menagerie of reanimated creatures to do his bidding.
So is it magic? Because we made the point that like it's not.
This is a form of alchemical magic. Yeah, it's magic in the sense of like. Yeah,
I like it having a veneer of like saltpeter views it as being scientific.
It involves all kinds of beakers and tubes and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just muddy enough that it's kind of existent.
Yeah, death art in the book is explicitly laid out to be like, you can be Dr. Frankenstein or you can be the horrific necromancer. The milieu by which you do
permits
this.
both.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's see. Creatures who are set free may act on their beliefs. Their existence is one of torment. It's not uncommon for them to break free from the sorcerer's control and then simply throw themselves upon him in an attempt to take his wretched life. The smart ones crawl off to the hills and barrows and plot their revenge. This is about what happens to Zambos that break free.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that you can use faith to negatively impact your existence. People can like try to repel you with faith.
Yeah,
stay the fuck away from Robillard.
Holy water and shit. Yeah.
They'll throw beans at you, and you'll have to go.
The other interesting thing.
Oh no, not the beans.
Yeah, an old lady will throw beans at you. The other interesting thing is summoning may be used to call forth the souls of those who are bound into these creations. Reanimated corpses count as the restless dead. So summoners can evoke and bind you with pacts and stuff.
Awesome.
So that's a cool thing. So if someone finds out that the person,
what's the skill for making pacts? Adam, is it bargaining?
It's you need the summoning, like it follows the summoning rules.
And then bargaining.
However, a summoner may trap these creatures in prison circles using cercination.
This is all.
I can do that too.
This is all fantastic, and I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty
great. Great.
So
I'm gonna be like, there's some zombie thing eating people. I have to solve this. I make the trapping circle, and then it's you, and I'm just like, hey, come on, why you gotta be like this? Hey.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let me see. I'm just seeing what he would try to do, because right now I don't know that he's a death artist with so much. Like he has no agenda aside from, can I do this? If he did, he could add beliefs and instincts to you, right? So I could say like, cool, yeah, you have one belief that's like, I must do this, but you have your own space. And I don't think he's good enough at that.
I love the idea of Joy as like experiment zero as like the first step of him figuring the stuff out. And
I think for him is like he's like, I've perfected this killing implement. There's gonna be all these corpses. What cool stuff? Cool stuff can we do with all these corpses?
Well, and like the Winter has made so many as well. He's probably been experimenting for a while.
Yeah.
Like on some Michelangelo levels, or not Michelangelo. Anyways, the guy who did all the autopsies that he wasn't meant to back in the day.
Yeah,
was fighting to steal corpses.
Okay, so his jam here is that he's not smart enough or whatever to like bind your soul to like serve him. But as an undead creature, I'm just looking for traits that you need to add. So as an undead creature, we talked about, so add to your trait list, hungry. Well, here, actually, can you review your trait list for us? Because I want to see if there's anything that doesn't make sense anymore as like zombie Joy.
Maybe lame.
Nope. No, definitely. It's like, that's a physical.
Elf, you're muted.
Stick around.
Off kilter, scapegoat, ashen, eldritch, bootlicker, numb, dreamer, lame, aura of innocence, keen taste, the fool, cold-hearted.
Okay. So
Cold-hearted, literally. Hey.
So
Yeah, my
I
heart
think
is very
you
cold.
lose your aura of innocence.
Aura of innocence for sure.
Because
Yeah.
you're a zombie now.
Do you just straight up get the aura of malevolence?
No, so we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll tell you because some of these will be replaced. So you lose that. I think I can't decide on keen taste.
Keen taste is
Keen
one of
taste
those.
is so good to keep.
It's so good to keep.
Hunger for human
I
flesh.
can like eat people and be like, ah.
Yeah, no, but remember, the it doesn't make it. It nourishes you, but it doesn't make it taste better.
No, I know.
I think
God,
I think it's really
choking
interesting
down
that she has something
human organ meat, and just see like it's so. I don't like it. It's good.
I've been watching too much Hannibal to be turned off by that.
Right.
Yeah, we're just gonna have all these really like sumptuous.
I mean,
shots.
numb is perfect because it's
yes, yeah. No, I would have given you like pretty much numb if you weren't already. So
the great thing is that this isn't such a stretch for her to convert to this.
So yeah, so you lose your aura of innocence. I think you're stripped of your corruption and your dreamer trait.
okay.
I think those just go away. Like dreamer and your corruption, because they corrupt your soul, and you don't really like. You have one kind of lingering, but it's bound to your body now.
What about traits that I have because of corruption? Does that?
So what was your other one? Is lame, right?
Dreamer and lame are the only two I have.
I just like lame is her leg.
Her leg hurts. Like it would.
But if she doesn't like feel it, then the thing is that she's gonna be decomposing. So
yeah, I think lame. Yeah, because it was a twisting of your flesh by the corruption power. So let's just strip you of your corruption completely.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. Okay. The reason dreamer goes is I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
You'll see. You can't dream if you can't sleep.
Yeah.
So you're still numb. You have keen taste. The fool stays for now because I think you can still pretend to be Joy, and Joy, the person culturally has or socially has that. I think everything else is good. Off kilter, scapegoat, Ashen, Eldritch, Bootlicker's a little more literate now, but I think so. In their stead, you gain. Let's see. I think like a variation of Slave to the Power of Death, because Slave to the Power of Death also invokes. Yeah, it's all of the like being a zombie. It's just that you were freed right away.
Slave to the Power of Death.
So it's a die trait. It's called Slave to the Power of Death. I will read it out. I'll read it out to you from Yon Codex. So. Slave to the Power of Death. The creature is now the servant of the sorcerer who evoked his soul, but then you were freed. You are no longer alive, but neither are you dead. You will not age, grow sick, hunger, or sleep, except as replaced with the other trait. So normal hunger is gone. So you can't sleep, you don't get older, you don't get sick. Normally you'd lose some traits, but again, we're kind of like using this as an example just to show like you're bound to your corpse.
Sure, yeah.
So there's that. That's fun. And then you also gain what I call it before, that hunger one.
And there are a bunch of things that saltpeter can do as,
and that's what I'll talk about in a second. So so you get
hungry dead also a die trait.
No, it's a character trait because it doesn't affect you mechanically aside from being a place turn. So hungry dead, insatiably hungry. You can consume normal food, but the only thing that truly curbs your desire is living human flesh. Like you have to kill someone and then eat them while they're still warm.
Yep.
Cool.
Or better yet, eat them while they're still alive.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. So God, the headers in the Death Art section are so good. Like,
are they?
Revenge is a vulture.
Should I be looking? Should I be looking through this?
There's a section called, where is it? The inevitable immortal army. Maintaining your horde. Go forth and stalk the night, my children. Okay.
Speaking of which, do you want to use I Am Night, Adam?
Where's that one?
It's on page 348, and it says applying the night-blooded trait to a corpse, so it is only active at night, grants +2 die to the Death Arts test to reanimate.
I don't think he's. So this is the thing is, I don't think that
he's too noobish.
Yeah, like I don't think anything that requires like a severe intent, which is why I don't think like horrific aura, mesmerizing gaze. Like I think he just was like, can I make this dead thing not dead anymore?
Yeah.
Not like, can I make a cool night stalking shadow assassin? That'll come later. Joy, like we said, Joy is version 0. This is the beta test.
Damn it! I want
Experiment 0.
He might be able to upgrade you later.
That's true.
Yeah, you can go back to him for further treatments. Also, there is a bit about killing yourself so that you become a lich.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, just want to remind you of that. So I'm 355. Right.
A necromancer who does so is under his own control and begins the game with 3 beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is we're bending the rules a little bit to fit our narrative purpose, which is good and fine. And that's the purpose, right? Is it death arts are new, he's experimenting, and now you're alive.
Yeah, and as he refines his process later, he'll be more in control of his.
Oh man, you can make a deal with him where he's like, bring me corpses. You can have like
you could be his Igor.
But bring me, yeah. But right now he just ditches you basically. He brings you back to life and then is like, cool, thanks. I'm gonna go work on this other corpse and try again from the beginning. Left to stalk the streets. You no longer feel the like cold touch of winter. Like it hardens your flesh and will slow you down, but you're not like.
I don't need to make 4 tests about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, your body might, in the sense that like if you go out and stand, like physically, the water in your body is freezing. But yeah,
you could just like lay there for a bit, and then when it warms up, you get back up, and you're like, yeah, it's cool, we're good.
God, that'd be horrible. It's like the end of The Shining.
You're like one of those frogs that just like freezes in the winter, and then when the thaw comes, they just wake back up.
Yeah. All right, cool. So you got Slave to the Power of Death, and you've got and then we'll talk about if there's anything else. But
and I mean trade vote.
Yeah,
so
if we need to vote anything in, I feel like this covers it, but.
Well, I think we might get rid of bootlicker.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be the one we can vote off, but we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, cool. So there's where Joy is at.
There you go, everybody. That's what happened to Joy.
How much?
That's fucking sweet.
How much time do we want to pass between Joy's death and the crowning of, or the pseudo crowning of the regent, and when we pick up again? Like 2 months, 3 months? How much time seems like a reasonable?
4 months.
This represents.
I need to get rule of law.
Well, okay. Here's the trick, though. I think
however many months it is that many months of continued endless winter. Like it's real bad.
So I think if we do like 3 seems like, because again the show, the HBO show or whatever of this wouldn't be like 27 days later, because people lose track of the shit. It's medieval and weird. The amount of time this represents is Lodowick solidifying his new position and like targets being hit, and like basically the armed criminal underworld becoming in control of much of the city. Elisandra becoming regent. And also all of the like raided food, because she was right. The forest territories had food. They were not sending back to the city. Food coming back in, and the nobles getting fed, and the high end, like it's more like hollowing out of the middle class, right? This dropping away of people who are neither noble nor poor. The poor getting like guns and their new sort of champions in the way of like Lodowick's people. So you're kind of like succeeding Lodowick, right? Like you're like, yeah, the poor people, like we're killing nobles and stealing their stuff. And so this divide getting widened, but the nobles getting to eat and their friends continuing to eat and solidifying. And then Agatha building up her covenant and empowering those folks. And then for Joy, this would be like learning how to be a zombie and practicing your zombie skills.
And we can do away with the like her first person that she eats has maybe already happened off camera.
yeah, totally. Like this would be like Joy coming out of the mindless ghoul phase and into the like, okay, I can survive. Now it's time to like
I know how this works.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone is really interested in spending a lot of time with like neonate, like baby Sabbat vampire Joy. We get it. It happened, and we can flash back to it if you want, but
it's nice to have that kind of be a fait accompli.
Yeah, totally.
Couple months,
I think. Like, so here's the thing about I think calling it 3 months, triggering another resource roll to maintain your shit.
Oh my god, no, I'm gonna be so fucked.
And then and then we pick up from there, and it gives lots of opportunity for skills.
I
feel like you have the whole kingdom now. You have an even bigger one than me.
Well, so Blue Jay will probably get a lot of help.
Yes. You know how to help from the crown.
Dave, I feel like you're going to have the hardest one.
Dave is the hardest one because now we talked about it, right? Your maintenance thing is like 9 now, I think.
Yeah, 9.
It's on my skill list.
Where's practice?
Okay, so let's take a quick break. While we're on break, I'll grab the rules. We'll find the rules for that stuff. When we get back, we'll figure out what everybody did in between in the 3 months. Then we'll do our trait vote. Sound good? Okay, cool. Stick around, everybody. More Burning Wheel when we return.